I froze in the parking lot. My wife was sitting inside a coffee shop with my best friend and she was crying. I wasn't supposed to be there. I had left work early because of a headache. But somehow I ended up standing across the street, staring through a window while the two people I trusted most in the world sat together in secret. Then my best friend reached across the table and held her hand. My chest tightened. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I didn't need to. At least, that's what I thought. I pulled out my phone and started recording. Then I heard my wife say something that made my blood run cold. I can't keep lying to him anymore. But before we start today's story, please subscribe to the channel and like this video. My name is Ethan Carter, and I am 34 years old. Until that afternoon, I believed I had a happy marriage. I had been married to my wife Olivia for 7 years. She was 32, kind, patient, and the person who made every bad day feel manageable. We didn't have children yet, but we had plans. We had a small house, decent jobs, and enough dreams to keep us excited about the future. And then there was my best friend, Ryan Mitchell. I had known Ryan since we were 12 years old. We grew up on the same street, played on the same baseball team, and stood beside each other during every important moment of our lives. He was 34, just like me. I trusted him more than anyone. Maybe that's why seeing him with my wife felt like someone had punched a hole straight through my chest. I watched them through the window. Olivia wiped her eyes. Ryan said something. She nodded. Then he squeezed her hand. That was it. I couldn't stand there anymore. I marched toward the coffee shop. My heart was racing so hard I could hear it. I pushed the door open. Both of them looked up. The expressions on their faces made me stop. They didn't look guilty. They looked terrified. Olivia immediately stood up. Ethan. I looked at Ryan. You've got some nerve. Ryan slowly rose from his chair. Ethan, listen to me. No, you listen to me. How long has this been going on? People in the coffee shop turned toward us. Olivia's face had gone completely pale. You don't understand, she said. I laughed. Really? Because from where I'm standing, it looks pretty simple. Ryan took a step toward me. I know what this looks like. Then save your breath. I turned to Olivia. How many times? Tears filled her eyes. Ethan, please. I couldn't believe it. I had trusted both of them. I thought about every late night at work, every time Olivia said she was going shopping, every time Ryan didn't answer my calls. Suddenly everything looked suspicious. Everything. I looked at Ryan. Were you laughing at me behind my back? No, then what? He didn't answer. His silence made me even angrier. I looked at Olivia. Say something. She opened her mouth. Then she closed it again. I shook my head. Unbelievable. I turned and walked out. I heard Olivia call my name. I kept walking. I reached my car and slammed the door. A few seconds later, someone knocked on my window. Ryan, I ignored him. He knocked again. I rolled the window down halfway. What? His face looked tense. You need to let us explain. I laughed. Are you serious? This isn't what you think. That's exactly what people say when they're having an affair. He looked away for a moment. Then he said quietly, I'd rather you hate me than hear the truth this way. I stared at him. What truth? He looked like he wanted to say something. Instead, he sighed. Go home. Talk to Olivia. Then he walked away. I sat there for almost 10 minutes. I should have driven home. Instead, I followed them. I know it sounds crazy, but I wasn't thinking clearly. I watched them leave the coffee shop in Olivia's car. I stayed several cars behind. They drove across town. Then they pulled into the parking lot of a medical building. I frowned. A hospital? Ryan and Olivia got out. I watched them walk inside together. I couldn't understand it. If they were having an affair, why meet at a hospital? I waited. 20 minutes passed, 30, then 40. Finally, they came out. Olivia looked like she had been crying again. Ryan had his arm around her shoulders. I felt sick. I wanted answers. I drove home. I expected Olivia to come home right away. She didn't. An hour passed, then another. When she finally walked through the front door, it was almost 7. She looked exhausted. I was sitting in the living room. Neither of us spoke. Finally, she sat down. I know what you think you saw today. I looked at her. Then tell me I'm wrong. She looked down. I can't. I stood up. So it's true. No. She looked genuinely shocked. No, Ethan. Not true. Then explain. She looked like she was struggling to breathe. I had never seen her like that. She looked afraid. Not guilty, afraid. She slowly lifted her eyes. I didn't tell you because I thought I was protecting you. I stared at her. Protecting me from what? She didn't answer. I suddenly remembered something. Over the last few months, she had changed. She was distracted. Sometimes I caught her staring at me. Sometimes I woke up and found her still awake. I asked if something was wrong. She always smiled and said no. I thought it was stress. Now I wasn't so sure. She took a shaky breath. I wanted to tell you 100 times. Tell me what? Tears rolled down her face. I had seen Olivia cry before, but never like this. It looked like she had been carrying something heavy for a very long time. She reached into her purse, then she pulled out a white envelope. She held it tightly. My stomach twisted. "What is that?" She looked directly into my eyes. "It's the reason I met Ryan." I frowned. "What are you talking about?" She swallowed hard. Then she whispered something I almost didn't hear. "I found this in your desk 3 months ago." I stared at the envelope. I had never seen it before. "What is it?" She didn't answer. Instead, she slowly handed it to me. My hands felt strangely cold. I looked at her. She was crying silently now. I looked back at the envelope, then I turned it over, and I saw my name written across the front. In my doctor's handwriting, my entire body went still. I looked at Olivia again. She whispered 5 words that changed everything. "You were never supposed to know." And with shaking hands, I opened the envelope. My hands were shaking. I slowly pulled the papers out of the envelope. At first, none of it made sense. There were medical reports, test results, and a doctor's note. Then I saw one sentence. I had to read it twice. Then a third time. "Further testing is recommended due to findings that may indicate early-onset Huntington's disease." I looked up. "What is this?" Olivia was crying openly now. I looked at her again. "What is this, Olivia?" Her voice trembled. 3 months ago, you started forgetting things." I frowned. "What? You forgot where you parked your car twice. You left the stove on. You forgot my birthday dinner reservation. You kept saying you were exhausted." I stared at her. "Everyone forgets things." "That didn't mean anything," she continued. "One day, you had a doctor's appointment. You came home and left this envelope in your desk drawer. I looked down at the papers. I never saw these." "I know." I looked back at her. She nodded slowly. "You never opened them." Silence filled the room. I remembered that appointment. I had gone because I had been having headaches and feeling tired. The doctor had ordered some tests. I was supposed to go back for the results. Then work became busy. I completely forgot. I forgot. The thought made my stomach drop. Olivia wiped her tears. "I found the envelope by accident. I thought it was a bill. When I opened it, her voice cracked. I couldn't breathe. I looked at the papers again. This can't be right." I prayed it wasn't. I looked at her. "Then why didn't you tell me?" She started crying harder. "Because I was terrified." I had never heard fear in her voice like that. "I went online and read about the disease. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. Every time I looked at you, I was afraid I was losing you." I couldn't speak, she continued. "I wanted another doctor to review the reports first." I frowned. "What does Ryan have to do with any of this?" She looked toward the floor. "Ryan's mother died from Huntington's disease." I blinked. "What?" He had never told me. After his mother passed away, Ryan spent years volunteering with families going through it. He knows specialists. He knows doctors. I didn't know who else to ask. Suddenly, the coffee shop, the hospital, her crying, Ryan comforting her. It all looked different. I sat down slowly. I felt numb. "You thought I was dying?" Olivia covered her mouth and nodded. Then she broke down completely. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. I looked at the reports again, then at my wife. For 3 months, she had been carrying this fear by herself. And what had I done? I accused her of cheating. I rubbed my face. "I don't understand. Why keep it secret?" She looked at me. "Because I know you." I frowned. "You take care of everyone. If you thought you had a disease like this, you would stop living. You would spend every second worrying about me instead of yourself." I didn't answer, because she was right. She took a deep breath. "Ryan and I met doctors. We collected information. We scheduled another appointment. We wanted facts before terrifying you." I looked up. "Today's hospital visit?" She nodded. "We got the final results." My heart started pounding again. The final results. I suddenly didn't want to know. What did they say? Neither of us moved. Then I noticed something. She wasn't crying like someone who had lost everything. She looked emotionally exhausted. But there was something else. Relief. I stared at her. She slowly reached into her purse again. She pulled out another envelope. "This is the final report." I looked at it. I couldn't bring myself to touch it. She placed it on the table. I opened it. I started reading. Then I froze. The original tests had been incomplete. Additional testing showed there was no evidence that I had Huntington's disease. No evidence. I read it again and again. Then I looked at Olivia. She smiled through her tears. "You don't have it." I couldn't breathe. I suddenly realized I had been holding my breath. "You mean?" She nodded. "You're okay." I dropped the papers. She was crying. I was crying. I don't even remember moving. The next thing I knew, I was hugging my wife. She wrapped her arms around me and held on as tightly as she could. Neither of us spoke. We just cried. 3 months. She had spent 3 months believing she might lose me, and she had carried it alone. Eventually, I pulled away. "I'm so sorry." She looked confused. "For what?" "For today. For accusing you. For not trusting you." She shook her head. "You didn't know." "No. But I should have listened." She touched my face. I probably would have thought the same thing. I laughed softly through tears. Then I looked at her. Why didn't Ryan tell me? She smiled. Because he promised me he wouldn't. As if on cue, someone knocked on the front door. I opened it. Ryan stood there. The moment he saw my face, he knew. You told him. Olivia nodded. For a second, we simply looked at each other. Then I hugged him. He looked surprised. Then he hugged me back. I stepped away. I'm sorry. He smiled. Don't be. No, seriously. I accused you of sleeping with my wife. He laughed. Trust me. I've had worse accusations. For the first time all day, I laughed too. Then his expression softened. I know what it's like to be scared of losing someone. I remembered what Olivia had said. Your mother, he nodded. I had known him almost my entire life. And I never knew. He smiled sadly. I don't talk about it much. I looked at him. You helped my wife carry this. He nodded. She shouldn't have been alone. At that moment, I realized something that made me emotional all over again. While I thought my best friend was betraying me, he was actually helping protect me. I invited him inside. The three of us sat in the living room for hours. We talked. Really talked. Ryan told me about his mother. Olivia told me about the sleepless nights. She admitted she used to watch me sleeping because she was afraid that one day our normal life would disappear. I listened, and I cried again. Near midnight, Ryan finally stood up to leave. At the door, he looked at me. Take care of her, I smiled. I will. Then he looked at Olivia. And you take care of yourself too. She nodded. After he left, the house became quiet. I looked at my wife. She looked exhausted. I sat beside her. For several minutes, neither of us spoke. Then I asked softly, were you really that scared? She looked at me, then she nodded. I've never been more scared in my entire life. I held her hand. I wish you had told me. She squeezed my hand. I wish I had too. I smiled weakly. Next time, no secrets. She laughed through tears. Deal. I kissed her forehead. That night, we didn't watch television. We didn't look at our phones. We simply sat together. Because for the first time in months, we both understood something. Life can change in a single moment. The people you love can disappear. And the time you think you have is never guaranteed. A few weeks later, Olivia and I took a vacation. No work, no stress, no distractions, just us. One evening, we sat by the ocean and watched the sunset. She rested her head on my shoulder. I looked at her and smiled. I had almost destroyed my marriage because I believed what I saw instead of asking questions. I had almost lost trust in my best friend because I assumed the worst. That experience changed me forever because I learned something important. Sometimes the things that look like betrayal are actually acts of love happening in secret. Sometimes the people you suspect are the very people fighting for you when you don't even know you're in danger. And most importantly, love cannot survive without trust, honesty, and communication. If you ever find yourself facing something that doesn't make sense, don't rush to judge. Listen first. Ask questions first. Because one conversation can completely change the story you thought you were living. And that conversation might save the people you love. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to think about the people and memories you never want to lose. And if you enjoy emotional stories with powerful twists and meaningful lessons, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who means home to you. I'll see you in the next story.